Hello, it is now 7:01 p.m. and a warm welcome to you all to this week's edition of Community Conversation. I am Jonelle Dinabazu.
And I'm C. Ron Allen.
It's so good to be back with you this week, and we have another informative show planned for you over the next 58 minutes. So I know Mr. Siron challenged you all last week, and no one claimed the prize. So I'll take liberty to challenge you that if by the end of the show you have not learned one thing new, $100 will be yours in your Cash App or Zelle account.
I agree, Dina. You're absolutely correct. Last week you heard from a young lady who now lives in Singapore. By popular demand, we have so much talk. We had, Dina, so much talk from folks, black women in particular, sisters in particular, who want to learn more about Singapore. So much interest, Dina, that we had to find someone who could give another perspective. So we have a young lady who left the Big Apple and now lives in Singapore, and she will enlighten us on being black outside the United States. If you ladies would like to ask her questions, start sending your questions now. You can text them to 561 That's 561 665 0151. Or you may just leave it in the chat and we will see them. Obviously, we will hear from one of my favorite sheroes in Delray Beach, the epitome of final womanhood and a true community icon. And yes, Dina, we have a surprise for them, but I think I'll wait until later in the show to release that. Last couple of shows, we've been having a lot of surprises. Dina.
So, Mr. Siron, last week you showed us the surprise. So, how is the little man doing now? And have you named him yet?
Well, Dina, yes, I have first. Where do I start? I had firsthand experience of the phrase, when it rains, it pours this week. Shortly after I introduced my son to you guys, Maltese Yorkie, some of you suggested that I give him company to keep him busy and free me up just so I could get some things done throughout my workday or even at night. Less than 24 hours later, though, 24 hours, probably about 17 hours later, after photos of about 7 breeds came to through my phone, my home became the humble abode to a Jack Russell who brought back so much fond memories of Milo, who went on to doggy heaven 9 years ago. Thanks, though, to all of you, Dina. Thanks to all of you who have offered me parenting advice this week, and to those who have sent in food or pea pads or other treats. I got it. Thank you. I was told that there's some packages waiting for me at my office. I will get them on Monday. But I must say that the wonders, though, Dina, the wonder of this thing called the internet. I connected with so many people this week from all across the country, all because of a dog. All because of a dog. I'm telling you, there are a lot of dog lovers out there. But as you know, I asked the young people last Friday listening, the ones who were listening, I asked them to suggest possible names for the Malky, which is Maltese, and Yorkie, and the name Charlie received the top votes. Thanks again to all you who submitted. Yes, all you who submitted. Speaking of Charlie, I mentioned his name, and he's sitting here looking at me. Look at you. You're on air now, so be quiet. He received the top votes, and Jack received second place. So it was only logical to name my second son Jack. But Dina, they sure have been keeping me busy these days. My routine up at 7 a.m., let them out, do their numbers while I make breakfast, feed them about 7:30, and then they're on their own to roam my backyard until lunchtime. Just a few days ago, I got my playpen, so that has been helpful. I was able to do some work, and without much interruption. But just let me just close with this. Charlie has been quite no, get down. Charlie has been quite generous. He likes to mark his spot everywhere he goes. Little tinkle here, little tinkle there, and just to let you know that he's around. And every now and then he likes to leave treats behind. So that's my doggy update this week. Yeah, the
Well,
texts are coming. The texts are coming in already.
well,
All right.
I'm sure we're happy for this update. And Charlie, wow, what a name.
Yep, Charlie and Jack. And you'll be hearing, trust me, you just like you heard about Milo in the past, you'll be hearing a lot about Charlie and Jack over the coming weeks.
Oh, wow. So let's welcome a warm welcome to our friends who are joining us on KOP Mentoring Networks or the Boca Raton Tribune's Facebook page or YouTube. So as usual, shout out to our friends in Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Jamaica, and Japan, Tobago, and the US Virgin Island. Remember to share community conversation on your social media pages. If you miss a show, you can always find it on Boca Raton Tribune or KOP Mentoring Network's Facebook pages.
Okay, guys, here at KOP, we believe that leadership training prepares our young people to manage their time, work in a team setting, set goals, start conversations, facilitate meetings, and make effective presentations, all of which are positive life skills that they will carry into adulthood. Please direct your attention to our friend, Mr. John Maxwell, for our Leadership Minute.
All of a sudden, there was a lot of turbulence, and you're bouncing around up there in the air. And,
you may want to back it up, Anna.
Flyer kind of just thinks, wow, this is the end. Perhaps we're going down. John Maxwell here. Welcome to Minute with Maxwell. All of us have turbulence in our life. I use the plane illustration, and you do know, don't you, that those planes were designed to handle that turbulence. I can still remember after I got a plane, my pilot taking me from Philadelphia to Florida, and there was a large storm in front of us, and he and the co-pilot said, we're going to go through this storm. Fasten your seatbelt very tight. I want to show you what this plane is capable of handling. Wow, I'll never forget that experience. I mean, we bounced around much more than I wanted to. We came through it, and the pilots turned around. They had smiles on their faces, said, see, this plane can handle a lot. I said, don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. Do that on your own. You go test out what the plane can handle without me. None of us like turbulence, but we all have it. Here's what I want you to know. Just like that plane, you're designed and you're tougher than you think you are. You're able to persevere more than you think. You're able to weather that storm more than you realize. And it sometimes takes a big storm for you to realize what your potential is. But I just want you to understand that the turbulence in life doesn't need to defeat you. You were built for big things like that. Test it. When you come out on the other side, you'll feel better about yourself like I felt better about that plane. Glad you're with us today on Minute with Maxwell.
Next Friday night for our monthly Friday Fish Fry to observe KOP Mentoring Network's 30th anniversary. The theme will be bingo night, and it will be all you can eat. Yes, all you can eat. Grilled and fried fish, or barbecue and grilled chicken. Wow.
Can't miss that.
No, you can't. Only 25 people will be admitted to comply with CDC recommendations, I guess. The cost is $25, which will include a bingo card and all you can eat. So all you can eat. You must pre-register to attend. Visit eventbrite.com to get your ticket and for more instructions.
The idea of migration is not new in the Black community. We've understood the connection between movement and upward mobility for centuries, whether it was escaping up to north for freedom or Liberia in the 1920s during the Great Migration, when 6 million Blacks moved to the north in search for better opportunity, or down south and into the suburbs after the turn of the 21st century. Yet, advocating a better life beyond the borders of the United States still seem absurd to many blacks and whites alike, rather than a realistic solution to the ills of the black community.
You know, I told you last week that several prominent Black Americans, like expatriates of all races and ethnicities, leave the USA temporarily or permanently for different reasons: in search of a better quality of life, for work opportunities, to marry or retire abroad, for tax reasons, or for adventure.
Even writers, James Baldwin, Richard Wright, and entertainer Josephine Baker relocated to Paris. Wright and Baker died in France's capital. Poet Langston Hughes was part of the expatriate community in London. Jazz and blues singer Nina Simone decided to see out her days in France. And after she stopped performing, she never returned to what she called the United Snakes of America. Simone also lived in Liberia, Barbados, Belgium, the UK, the Netherlands, and Switzerland. When she died in 2003, her ashes, at her request, were scattered across several African countries.
Now, tonight we have Miss Judith Francis, who left the Big Apple and now has made Singapore her home. Miss Francis, thank you so much for joining us. I truly appreciate the sacrifice you made, considering the time difference. What time is it there?
It's now 8:15 on Saturday morning.
8:15 on Saturday morning. Last time we communicated, you were about to go to get some rest last night, and now you're waking up. That's good. That's good. Now, I know everyone's wondering, how did you end up in Singapore? What brought you to that side of the world?
I had left New York and moved to California in 2003 as a survivor of September 11th. And my husband and I were considering where to live. Should I move to France, which is where he was, and traveling back and forth, or just try and find a job where he can work and I can also do the same. So I was offered a job at National University of Singapore in March of 2017. And in accepting that job, I decided to move here because it was an opportunity to work with young men and women, teaching them social emotional intelligence skills. That is very important for the workforce.
In fact, very important. That's very important today, especially in this time that we're living.
Absolutely.
Now, you're working with young people in Singapore, and it was, you said, National University?
National University of Singapore. Yes.
Talk to me a little about the population there. How are the young people in Singapore? Do they have mentoring program and youth programs, athletics, recreation programs, and how are they different from the States? Those are some of the questions that our young people share that they would like to know more about.
Unfortunately, I'm no longer working there. My mother had died 5 weeks after arriving, so I had to close that job. But in staying in touch with and understanding what is taking place here, I am currently involved to some degree with the Asia Institute of Mentoring, where there are absolutely many mentoring programs here, and that is something that I see is valued in Singapore. You have quite a number of individuals in the workplace or just entrepreneurship programs where they focus on mentoring. And this particular group, AIM, Asia Institute of Mentoring, are keen on mentoring the youth in Singapore, and they usually engage expats, individuals from around the world here in Southeast Asia as well. So the youth are well-rounded in what they're learning, not just from people in the workplace from Singapore, but you have expats from Australia, the UK, the United States, other Asian countries, Belgium, wherever in the world. You can find somebody here who is involved in that. There are many sports groups as well. There are walking groups, running groups where mentoring takes place on the court. Whether it's tennis that somebody's playing or basketball. Right now where I'm sitting, I'm looking at individuals down there playing tennis and basketball. So very active, very engaged in what is going on in the world, and creating opportunities for the youth here to learn about what is going on in the world. Another thing you'll find is that many Singaporean families will send their children abroad to study. So that is something I personally, when I lived in the US, encouraged the young people I worked with. I worked at the West Coast University in Los Angeles, California. And one of the things I pushed, not only were for the individuals, the young people to learn another language, but to be sure that they took time to travel outside of their immediate space. You've got in New York, for example, you have Little Italy and Chinatown. So even if you don't have the money to get on a plane and go somewhere, go into those neighborhoods, learn about the people, and educate yourself in different ways. Understand what it means to be one ethnic or cultural group in a different setting, and not just listen to what we hear on the news. Experience it for yourself, and that's the purpose of traveling.
Okay, getting some text here from I'm sure some ladies here, but one is how do you find the Black community in Singapore versus the United States, Los Angeles in particular?
Well, there is, in my experience, no Black community here. There is, I have on occasion encountered a person of color or Black individuals in different areas. I remember one day walking on Orchard Road, and this woman, a tourist who was visiting, she was speaking to a friend of hers in the US, and she said, oh my God, here is a Black woman. And she approached me. She said, there are Black people here. She approached me and she said, can I take a picture with you? This is such a rare thing. I'm visiting and I wanted to see somebody who looks like me. There you are. So, and 2 weeks ago, I was going to an appointment and I saw a woman from Nigeria in the train station, and she looked at me, I looked at her, and it was, again, another immediate connection. So there's no community per se, there's just the recognition that when you see someone, you approach them,
Right.
Whereas in America, it's, or in France or some place like that, you see someone and you just keep walking because you're so used to seeing yourself wherever you go. Here, it's a very unique experience. Even at church, I've met one couple who are in the choir at St. Andrew's Cathedral, where my husband and I attend. And it was an immediate, oh, there's somebody who looks like me. And, we are the only Black people, if you will. She's from Zimbabwe, she and her husband. I am American.
Right.
But it's not a common, it's not a common experience. It's something that you see. You will see Indians here, so you will see people of darker skin tones, but there's no per se Black community here.
Just last week, we had a young lady who works for Google in their marketing department, and much younger than you are, but she was able to find them out she was able to find some young ones because she was at a pool party with them, and there were quite a few at that pool party. So they're around. You just got to know where to hang to find them.
In Singapore.
Yes. So another question here is hair products. How difficult, how challenging is it for you to find hair products for the sisters over there?
I usually order my products online, or where I have family members visiting, I will have them bring something for me from the US.
Right. I remember being in Korea, and they had the same some of the same challenges over there, and for me, hair care product wasn't an issue, but for me, the milk was a challenge for me. Getting fresh milk and produce. Is that the same over there?
Singapore.
Are your stuff?
I absolutely
Singapore.
love it here. It's you get the best fruit and vegetables, and much of it is a lot like what I grew up with in the Caribbean. And
Super.
Singapore reminds me of the Caribbean in that regard. It was also, St. Vincent was also a British colony, and so was Singapore. But many of the fruits and vegetables I find here remind me of my childhood. So that's also part of feeling somewhat like I'm at home.
What's the weather like over there?
It's quite hot and humid, very humid. I put more stress on the humidity because there are no tall buildings to really provide shelter. But during the day, it's quite humid.
Okay.
80 plus temperatures and 70 plus humidity.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So how has and this is more so for our young people, how has traveling enriched your experience?
Traveling is absolutely something that has enriched my life, not only personally, and it's something I encourage everyone to do, traveling and learning another language. In terms of how it has enriched my experience in my life, it's when you, for me, studying Italian, for example, and living in Italy, you're able to speak to individuals in their language. And that is an invitation into a circle of conversations that you wouldn't otherwise have. You'd be standing on the outside of deeper conversations when you can communicate with people in their own tongue. That's an invitation in, and you can go much deeper and understand the culture. You go to places where you otherwise would not have gone. You know, you talked about the woman who works at Google. My husband and I are more reserved in terms of where we go. So if you're working at Google, there's a completely different circle that you're engaged in. So even though there isn't a language barrier here, English is the language of the land. If you're working at Google, you're invited into a circle that you otherwise would not be a part of. So even that, in a sense, is part of travel that we as a community absolutely need to take advantage of. Get out of your immediate community. Get out and have people understand who you are as well, and not just what they're learning about in the world from the newspapers and from the media. Do it yourself.
Definitely.
That is so important, because there's so many young people who we serve down here in Delray Beach who have never ever left their zip code, and unfortunately, thanks to COVID, we have not been able to do so this year to expose them. But I thank you so much, Judith. Thank you tremendously for making the sacrifice to help us this evening to educate these young people.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
We will be in touch with you again for our edition next year on surviving disasters. Since you saw, tell me about it. Tell me just quickly before you go. September 11th, you were in the building when those planes hit the towers, right? Am I correct?
I was on the 102nd floor of Tower 2. It's the building that was hit second, but it went down 3 to 5 minutes after I exited the building.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I ran out of the tower. I looked at the first building being hit, and we all gathered at the receptionist area for what, just based on my time calculations, for about 4 to 6 minutes, asking where's the receptionist, because people wanted to know what to do. And I said, we just need to get out of the building. We can deal with everything else later. And we began running down the stairs. Some of us, many individuals, just gathered at bottlenecks of each floor as we were running down. And within minutes later, running down the stairs, when I was at the 86th floor, turning onto the 85th floor, here was the second plane entering that tower, Tower 2. Yes.
And I'm sure to say, I'm sure you did not return to work. Oh, you have not.
We returned to work at a different location
Okay.
About a couple of weeks later, but that was quite a challenge as well.
Quite challenging. Can imagine that. Well, Judith, again, thank you very much for your time, and we will be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Take it out.
Well, tonight yours truly wearing two hats. This program is produced by Jonelle Dina Bazoo.
I wonder who was that?
I'm a graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School, as well as the Milagros Teen Center. And the man behind those videos that you have been seeing tonight is our illustrious cinematographer. I got it, Mr. Ciron.
Yeah, you did. Finally, after 38 weeks. Good job, Dina.
Neil Sinsky, Neil Knoll, a proud product of KOP Mentoring Network and Village Academy. Our social media intern is Jasmine Collins, a sophomore at Florida State University. So check out our social media pages to see Jasmine's fine work. So we invite you.
Yes, please do. And I can see him walking through the door right now. My man himself, Mr. John. He's walking down the aisle, coming in. John, Brother John. Let him in, please. He's knocking on the door.
I'm here.
What's going on, man?
Man, not just blessed, man. My birthday was on Tuesday, and
Dina has a surprise for you. Dina, 1, 2, 3, hit it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
34 years old.
Happy 34.
I'm getting old, brother. I'm getting old.
That's all right, John. 34.
Just getting one.
Happy birthday. Neil did that. Did he have the video, Dina?
Man, I appreciate that, Neil.
Yeah, Neil, I think he did one with the music, but he's under the weather, so I'm not sure if we even have that, but that's all right.
Got it.
So what'd you do for your birthday, man?
Man, I was at work, man. As you know, when you're grown, you still got to go to work. So now I was at work, and
you work on your birthday?
Man,
everybody take that off.
I had a presentation and other things that I had to set up, and so unfortunately, when you're older and you're working, man, you gotta work on your birthday. So I worked on my birthday, and then I came home, had a nice meal, and spent the evening relaxing with my girlfriend. So it was
she's still in town. Good.
It was a good time for sure.
Good. So apart from your birthday, what has been the highlight this week? What have we been missing?
It's been a lot this week. I think that the biggest thing that's going on in our country, of course, is the winter storm that took place in Texas this week. And
Yeah.
so you got a lot of people that are struggling right now. So I'm gonna send prayers out to them that are struggling with heat, power, and so we see some people even boiling snow to try to get some water. So it's definitely definitely tough times in Texas and kind of all over that's been affected by that winter storm.
Man, we sure hope they send prayer. Come on, man. Come on. Say hi to Mr. John. Say hi to Mr. John. Dina.
Oh,
What up?
hey. Charlie.
That's what's up, Charlie. Say hi, Charlie. All right. You say goodbye. Oh, no, this one's getting jealous now. Hold up. Your day will come. Your day will come. This is Charlie's week. So John, I heard that the National Guards in DC, the ones who are hoping on going home soon, will be delayed because they were concerned that our past president may try to reclaim his presidency.
Yeah, there's about 5,000 National Guard that'll be there through March. So I know that 75 years ago, the inauguration actually took place on March 4th, and so there's people so there's people that are holding out hope that on March 4th, there'll be an inauguration where President Trump will retake retake the presidency. So March 4th is the day that they're worried about, some further future threats of violence and that kind of thing. So yeah, they'll definitely be there through March 4th.
Nia, Dina, Neil, you see the things you guys learn on Community Conversation. March 4th is the day.
March 4th used to be an inauguration day for the president 75 years ago. So,
wow. Now, if I recall, John, do you know why was changed from March 4th to
that's a good question. And maybe some of our listeners.
Someone just texted. It was changed after the war. I think it was changed after the war, but yeah. Why was it changed? I think it was changed after the war. I'm not sure which war, but anyway, that's a question for us to. I know we'll have the answer for you next week. If you guys have the answer as to why the inauguration was changed from March 4th to the second Tuesday in February, John? In January?
I think it's January 20th is the
January
day.
20th, yes.
And so yeah,
But
we'll
W,
definitely have that for you guys next
W,
week.
why don't you check that out and let us know, please? Doing a fine job.
It did change from March 4th. Oh, okay. It says the lame duck amendment.
Yeah.
It moved the inauguration date from March 4th to January 20th.
Lame duck amendment. Oh, okay.
It's after the 20th Amendment. So
right.
So yeah, after the 20th Amendment, it moved from March 4th. It looks like to.
It was changed because they deemed it too long. I have thank you.
Got it.
Yep. Okay.
That makes sense. I mean, you know, a new election. We vote on November.
Too long to wait.
Tuesday,
Too long to wait. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
In November, and so.
Well, thank you. That's from a fine graduate of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. So apparently they did more than taught you how to start a tractor up on the hill. That's very good. Thank you so much. Anyway, I also heard that Bloomberg is. That's all right. As I said earlier to someone, we educate, we inform, sometimes we entertain, John, and in some cases we even agitate. And guess what? They're texting right now, which is what we really want y'all to do. I also heard that Bloomberg is reporting that our dear Ivanka called Senator Marco Rubio to let him know that she does not plan to run against him when his seat is up in 2022. You heard that?
Yeah, I saw that that was in the news, and so it just begs the question, whether the Trump family and kind of their future in politics and what that is going to look like moving forward. So it'll be
Well,
interesting.
she dropped, I think it was like $30 million or on a plot of land in one of those
Yeah,
islands
down here
in
in South
Miami. Yeah,
Florida.
bi- billionaire bunker of Miami. So, do you think that was somewhat laying the groundwork for a run for the governor's mansion?
Yeah, it definitely could. Who knows? I mean, I think that for one, Florida is beautiful, and so that they like it. The Trump family likes it down here in Florida, but also it'd be interesting to see what their future is politically and what that's going to look like. Because there's definitely, a segment of the country that they appeal to, and also that they've done wonders as it relates to the campaign and kind of how everything went forward with that. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in the future.
Yeah, Governor Trump. Wow, I think the residency requirement though will go into play there. I think you have to be a resident of Florida for 7 years. So I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. But anyway, there are always waivers. What are your thoughts out there? If you're listening, and you can, if you can foresee a Governor Trump in a few years, she certainly would be breaking the glass ceiling by becoming the first female governor of this state. If you think that's a possibility and a likelihood, let us know by texting us 561-665-0151, or you can enter that in your chat. So, Brother John, talk to us about the upcoming go to high school, go to college event you have planned.
Absolutely. And if we could bring that flyer up. Um, Absolutely. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday we will be having the Go to High School, Go to College event. Will be virtual, and so as you see the QR code on this flyer, is how you would go about registering for the event. The biggest thing is, we're appealing to all the youth, seniors that are looking to go to college next year to enjoy the event. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the 27th of February. So not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. And then we're going to have some dynamic speakers. We plan to bring in a representative from Bethune-Cookman University, Florida Atlantic University, Florida A&M University, and Florida Memorial University to talk to the students about their universities and how the different career paths and the different majors that the students can go into if they decide to go to those universities. We'll also have a career panel to basically encourage the kids that, hey, they're able to get to the seat that they're in because of going to college and being able to pursue their dreams. And then the last part is just we're going to have a college panel where we're going to have actual college students from those universities talk about their experience and actually share the real details of what it's like to be in college at those universities. The biggest thing and why we're really pushing this is because it's important, for our community, to have a plan after high school, and to really look forward to going to college, starting their careers after college, and we'll be giving away scholarships. We'll have a DJ, we'll have some scholarship giveaways. I'm excited about a DJ. Her name is Vibe the DJ. She DJs down in South Florida. And so it's going to be an action-packed day of fun times, and we're excited about the event. Yeah, and any questions about it, definitely reach out to us.
We do have a question. We do have a few questions, John. Is this
Okay.
only for male students or females
It's
as well?
actually, it's put on by Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, so it's geared towards male students, but it's actually open to everybody. Everybody can come and participate because the representatives that we're bringing are going to be speaking to everyone, to get them excited about going to college and exploring their career paths after college.
And I know notice you have a QR code on the flyer. If someone cannot access the QR code now, where else can they get additional information on this? Is there a website or a number they can call to get information? Where else can they?
We will make
you can always come back to go to the KOP KOP Facebook page or Boca Raton Tribune's Facebook page, and you can find it here on this flyer on the site. So we'll make sure that's available. John, if you have, what date is this? February 22nd. That's next Saturday, right?
So we'll be doing our last push, of course, at the show next Friday. But we're really trying to push it this week. And so, again, we're excited about it. We're giving away scholarships, folks. We are giving away scholarships. And yeah, I'm excited about the event. And it's, I'm really looking forward to that event.
You may have answered this question, but do we have to pre-register for this?
The goal is, yes, of course, we would love for individuals to pre-register. So when you pre-register, you actually get a link. So it's going to be done on Zoom. And so when you pre-register, we'll be able to send you all a link to be able to click on the Zoom link on that Saturday morning to join. And so we'll definitely make sure that additional information is sent out to you guys.
Well, brother, man, you have a great weekend, and we have a great weekend, brother John. They're burning up my phone here now, but I'll pass on that one. So, all right, brother John. Before I go though, this week's Black History Trivia is name the first Miss Black Boca Raton High School homecoming queen, and what year did she reign? That's the first Miss Black Boca Raton High School homecoming queen, and what year did she reign? If you know the answer, get that information into us by texting 561-665-0151, 561-665-0151 by 5 p.m. next Wednesday. Folks, one last order of business. I mentioned earlier I have a surprise for you guys. Yes, I do. Bring her in, Anna, please. Bring her in. Bring her in. No, you cannot. No. Anyway, no, you cannot. You cannot. You're not allowed. Only kids, only students. You have to be between the ages of 7 and 17 to enter. No, you cannot enter. So, anyway, folks, no, I'm referring to people who are texting in the chat here, Anna. Dina, yes. Okay. All right, folks, we have a young lady who is sitting in tonight for the Don Lemon. No one can really fill his shoes, Daryl Creary. But we have a young lady who I am just so happy and excited for this opportunity. She's someone who has been with KOP Mentor Network for a long time, since probably about 3rd grade. And what grade are you in now, Miss Johnson?
Currently, I'm a freshman at Dwyer High School.
Oh, so you're in big school now, big league. And where'd you go to middle school?
I went to Bott Middle School of the Arts.
Oh, Bott Middle School of the Arts. So are you an artist?
Yes.
Okay, what do? Sing, write, draw, poem, what?
I play the piano.
You play the piano. Are you an accomplished pianist? Have you performed? Tell us a little about who you are. Who is Delina John? I could tell him, but you tell him. It's your moment.
I So since I went to Bach, like they have like a lot of recitals and stuff, and I've played in a lot of those recitals. I've also volunteered at the retirement home and played Christmas music for the elderly people. And I just like, play around. I've learned some new songs as well. So, and I also played at my church sometimes.
There you go. You've been playing for a long, long time. So I'm going to step aside and let you take over. I'm proud of you. I'm just so proud of you, Delina. You made my week, my month, just to see you sitting next to Dina doing what I enjoy doing on a Friday night. All right? You take it away.
Well, thank you for being with. Okay, you're still here. Maybe we'll hear you play sometimes on Community Conversation. Maybe. So let's paint this picture.
Yeah.
Delray Beach, 1954, right after the Brown Board versus Board of Education decision. It was supposed to be a regular school day in September 1961 when a 10th grader named Yvonne Autumn walked into Seacrest High School in Delray Beach and headed for her classroom. But it was far from normal for Autumn, who paved the way for future Black students at Seacrest High, now known as Atlantic High School. Another barrier of segregation was being scaled. Autumn, a Black sophomore, stepped into the school building alone and absolutely calm. But as she began to walk to her classroom, a white stranger reached out and took her hand. Paula Adams. She was a member of the student council. She walked Autumn hand to hand into class. It was a white girl helping a Black girl face the white stairs in the hallways. Tonight we have Mrs. Odom with us. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Mrs. Odom.
Okay, thank you. It's my pleasure. But my name was Lee at the time. I've been an Odom a long time, but Lee was my name.
Wow. Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us and for making that sacrifice so students like me can attend Atlantic Community High School, as it is known now.
Yes.
So, apparently, you were one of the 5 students who were used as part of the group's plan to integrate.
Well, I was a young, energetic kid, and I had no knowledge of what was going on behind the scenes. But I was told later that they did handpick certain kids to integrate all of the schools. And there was a group that came and asked my father if I would do this because they wanted somebody who they felt would be successful. And I guess I was the chosen one. I was 15 years old and very excited in my own school. I was a starter on my basketball team. So I left a wonderful education opportunity to do something that I felt was going to benefit more than just me.
Wow. And it has, definitely. So did you fully understand what you were doing when you walked on campus that morning?
Absolutely not. But all that I know, there were a lot of people depending on me because I'll take you back. School had already started. I was in 10th grade. I had already been elected Miss Carver attendant. And those of you who know anything about Black schools, we had all the royalty, homecoming and all of that. And we elected our homecoming queens and kings. And also I had already started as a freshman on our basketball team. That was another thing. We had a very involved athletic program for girls. And I was at a football game and I came home and my dad goes, well, Barney, that's my nickname. I filled out some papers for you to go to Seacrest. And I looked at him and I said, you did what? Yes, I did. So the next day, because we happened to play our games on Thursday night, word had got around. And then I felt I was like, obligated because everybody was like, oh, you should do it. You're so good. You should go. Because they wanted somebody who would be successful. Shortly after that, I got a letter in the mail from the school district approving my reassignment to, at that time, was Seacrest. Because I lived in Boynton. My father pastored St. John Missionary Baptist Church. And so I passed Seacrest to get to Carver, because back in those days, all of the Black students that lived in Lake Worth, Boynton, Delray, and Boca Raton were bused to Carver High School. So Seacrest was closer, and that day came and they wanted me to report at 10 o'clock in the day around that time, not at the beginning of the school day. And my father did take me, and I do have the copy of the original article that appeared in the paper that day. And that picture was taken of me as I exited from across the street. I had no idea that that picture was being taken. But my understanding is that they had blocked off the streets because, you know, there were other places that tried to be integrated, and it was just like really bad. And I think the adults in Delray and the school district in Boynton, they intentionally tried to make it work for me. So we met with the principal, and I think they did their homework. And that's why I think the riots didn't happen, or even though, you know, I had some name calling, you know, minor stuff. But the principal prepared the students for me. That's what I was told sometime later.
Well, and now,
By
Belina,
1960, by 1961, public schools were trying to meet the demands of a 1954 Supreme Court decision that basically said separate but equal schools were inherently unequal. It was not to be. Before you arrived on campus, the principal, Robert Fulton, called a student council meeting and asked for a volunteer to give you a tour of campus on your first day. Do you know exactly why he did that?
Well, I didn't know initially, but I found out later because Paula and I, and unfortunately Paula and her husband both died recently, but 40 years after the incident, she, this is my understanding, called the Sun Sentinel and asked whatever happened to me. But like I said, the school intentionally prepared the students. And he, when I say he, Mr. Fulton, that was the principal at the time, decided to let the student body know that I was coming and that they should treat me with respect. And he asked for a volunteer to volunteer, you know, escort me around that day. And Paula raised her hand. And I did get a chance to ask her. She and I became very good friends later. After we were adults, we would go to lunch, and it was just her, something in her, that she decided to volunteer and say, yes, I'll escort her around, because they initially wanted me to use the faculty bathrooms. They didn't want to put me in a PE class. And I rejected all of that because, you know, I was always athletic, and I was going to go to the same restroom all the other kids go. But I just want to let you know, right now at the school district office, and this is a side note, that building is named for, it's called Fulton Holland Center, Educational Center. That's the school district office. The attorney, Mr. Holland, was the attorney who filed the lawsuit to integrate the schools. But by the time the Supreme Court had ruled, his children were out of school. So that's why he didn't do it. And then Fulton, who was my principal at the time, and he later became the superintendent of schools. And that building to this day is called Fulton Holland. Up there, we call it the Taj Mahal. So that's why it's named that.
Oh,
And I
wow.
spent 3 years there. I was there my sophomore year. I was there all by myself as a student. No other Black kid was in the school. And then by the time my senior year rolled around, all of the Black students who were in Boynton were sent to Seacrest. And there were 5 of us who actually graduated, 5 Black women, believe it or not. And we are all still alive and doing well. So even though I was the first, there were 5 of us who actually graduated in a class of over 300, almost 400.
Oh, I wanted to ask, did Paula Adams ever tell you why she volunteered when you
You
asked
know,
her?
she just simply said she thought that was the right thing to do. You know, she just raised her hand. And she was the editor of the Squall. That was the name of the newspaper. So Paula was considered a leader at the time. And Mr. Fulton met with the leaders. And that's why today I say, when you are intentional about what to do, you can do the right thing. And I appreciate what C-Ron is doing with you guys. And you all are doing such a wonderful job. And you don't do this by accident. I was prepared to do what I did, even though I didn't know that. You know, and people often ask me, how did I feel? And I felt like I had what I needed when I stepped on that campus. You know, I really did. I wasn't afraid. And I had in my mind, if I was going to integrate, I was going to integrate. I went to everything. I went to all the football games. My boyfriend, who is now my husband, we went to all the proms. So Carver had 2 proms, Seacrest had 2. So we went to 4 proms when we went high school. Yes, we did. And I just felt that I was not going to shy away from I ran for office. I won the little primary, but I didn't win the total election. I was in the GAA, it was called. I played basketball, but they only had intramurals. And that was my one regret, because I was really fast in high school. And I often tell this story. If I had stayed at Carver, I probably would have got a scholarship as a Tiger Bear. And the Tiger Bear was Tennessee State girls who won the Olympics. And they were really, really fast. But that was my sacrifice. I don't regret it, because I learned so much in those 3 years about people and human nature. And girls, this is what I want to instill with you. Learn somebody for who they are. Please don't judge somebody by the color of their skin. Martin Luther King was right. And that's what I learned spending 3 years at a school where basically it was only a few of us at that school, but I was there the entire sophomore year by myself, and I participated in everything that I could.
Well, thank you so much for, what you have contributed to make this
I
possible.
appreciate the opportunity. Yes, and you all are doing a wonderful job, and feel free to ask me anytime. I love telling my story. I taught for 45 years, and that was my main thing, instill in young people that you can do it. Look who we have as vice president of the United States.
Yes.
Just a few years ago, we had Barack Obama. I never thought that I would live to see that, because I grew up in segregation, where it was against the law.
Do you know the names
for
of
me
the
to do
other
certain
4 ladies that
Huh?
were there with you? Do you know the names of the other 4 ladies that were also there with
I
you?
sure do, Shirley. I have Miss Waters, Shirley Waters. She's in Boynton. Alma Bagley, Nora Jean Coleman, Jeanette Sands, and they are still alive, living in Boynton, because I don't know if they all live in Boynton, but we still all around. We're still looking good. But that's been over 50 some years ago, and they did well. I got the notoriety because I was the first, but they were there too, and we graduated in 1964, and I'm so proud of the fact that I have 2 classes that I celebrate: the class of Carver High School 64 and Seacrest 64. because I participated back and forth. I never forget my Carver class because they were all there rooting for me to be successful.
Ask the next question. Mrs. Odom, how do you want to be remembered? What do you hope people learn from your story?
Oh, wow. You know, that's a tough one. I just would hope that there are times that you're going to be asked to do something that you might not initially think you should do it, but you sometimes just have to step out on faith. And I would hope that you would be courageous sometime to do something, and that if we can instill that in young people, be courageous and step out on faith, because you never know who's watching. And don't be afraid to tell your story. If you had struggles, if you had some difficulties. I grew up in a situation where basically I was raised by a man before he married. So that to me is very powerful, that my father raised me, and I wanted to share that, with my stepmom and all my brothers and sisters. And sometimes people think, oh, poor little you didn't have this and you didn't have that, so it's okay for you to fail. And that's not true. You cannot fail, because I used to tell my kids, look, I need you working and help with Social Security so you can pay mine. So you can do it, and I'm very happy that you are. So what you remember me, I just think that if my story can simply say, it was something in me that allowed me to do it and not back away. And that's how I live my life.
Yeah, and we all have something in us too.
Yes, absolutely.
When you talked about Paula Adams, you mentioned that she was a leader. When you think of her, what do you think of? What comes to mind?
Well, at the time, I didn't think really anything, because she was the one who she just walked me down, and really she didn't hold my hand, I must say, but we did walk together, and I could see the stares of the kids looking, because Seacrest at the time had windows all the way from ceiling to floor. And the eyes were like, oh my God, why are they all staring? But, and she took me to my first class, and I think we shared a locker or something, because I wasn't assigned a locker. But she left me her yearbook, which I really appreciated, because I did not buy a yearbook my sophomore year, and it was her senior year. And just like I told you, unfortunately, she and her husband met with a serious accident, and both were killed. And sure enough, her daughter found me and brought me that yearbook, because she had a note in it. This is to go to Yvonne Lee. And we've done stuff together with FAU on race relations. And Paula, I think, had the same idea as me, that you have to get to know somebody for who they are. And she shared with me something, that of all her classmates, I am the only one that she's still connected with.
Wow.
Yeah, she shared with that the last time we had lunch. And, you just never know the impact you have on somebody when you are being yourself. You don't have to pretend to be somebody else. Be yourself, be genuine about it. And if somebody don't like you, that's okay. Like yourself. That's okay.
That is an amazing advice.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Siron, I think you're saying something, but you're muted. Well,
Okay, I'm back. Mrs. Odom, I
Okay.
just got a text here from Everett, Washington. Say you have a posse out in Washington rooting for you. If you can tell her we're rooting for her out in Everett, Washington. We're very proud of her.
Isn't
Not
that
sure if
wonderful?
you have connections out in Washington.
Hey, C. Ron, You gonna tell
Yes,
who
ma'am.
my other connection is?
I don't know. Well, they're sending me lots of pictures here too. I don't know who they are.
Oh, okay.
Ian Salzman and his crew.
Oh, I love him. I love him. He was
Yes.
my boss at Carver.
Was
you
he the
know what?
picture?
He and I got along so well now I'm the union rep. He's the principal. And can you imagine? We got along very well because I respected him as my boss.
And someone also sent me photos. Someone sent me photos of Paula when you guys were 50, the woman who escorted you on campus. So that's good.
Oh, yes. She has one daughter that was
Yes.
I was able to meet. Yes.
Good.
So there you go. When you are intentional, I believe in that.
Yep. It just shows that we're reaching across the states, Miss Odom. Reaching across the states. We were in Singapore today. We're in Seattle or Everett tonight, and we're in Palm Beach County. Dina, you want to take it home?
Oh, well.
And I'm in Orlando right now.
And you're in Orlando.
Ooh,
Yes.
Orange County.
Yes. My grandson has a tournament. So isn't the internet amazing?
Wow.
Hold up now. All these Carver High School or Carver Middle School people are telling me, Ron, please tell Dr. Salzman I say hello. Tell him Miss WU says hello. Hold up now. You all reach out to him on your own dime, not on my dime. But Dr. Salzman, all the Carverites are saying hello. They love you. They miss you. And tell him we say all the best to him out in Washington.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Dina.
Love. And I must ask this question. You're the grandmother of one, if not the greatest youth sports star around today. So how is it like being Coco's grandma?
Well, I tell you one thing. It used to be, oh, that's Miss Odom's granddaughter. Now it's like, oh, that's Coco grandma. So
Like,
she is my granddaughter, but I have 7 grandchildren. I'm very proud. And so y'all keep rooting for her. We're praying for her. And hey, what can I say? Yeah, that's my granddaughter.
that's your granddaughter. Thank you.
And thank you, girls. You did a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you so much for joining.
Okay, guys. That will just about do it, Dina, right?
That will about do it tonight for this week's edition of Community Conversation. We hope that you learned something that will make a significant impact on your life. Young people, I cannot stress this enough. There is no greater investment that you can make on a Friday night than being with like-minded peeps on Community Conversation. And we want to thank all of our guest participants for enlightening us, and a big sincere shout out to the Boca Raton Tribune for simulcasting us on Facebook and YouTube.
Anna, Dina, before you go any further, let me just say thank you so much to the Boca Raton Tribune, and Anna especially. Our producer Neil is our engineer Neil is under the weather today, and at the very last minute, I reached out, and Anna, who's not even in this country, stepped in to help us out. Anna, we are grateful for you stepping in to help us at the last minute.
Thank you, Anna. We want a special thanks to our sponsors, Healthier Delray Beach, Blunt New Look Barbershop, DNA Total Fitness, Jeff Stern CPA, Wellness Financial, Roots and Wings, Ezra Krieg, Marsha Eisenberg, and Doug Young. So as we wrap up tonight's session, we leave you with this message.
And the message is, a mask is a terrible thing to, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Wear your mask.
Yeah.
There it is.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it. But even more, about the person who doesn't.
Super. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Have a
Good night.
weekend.
Yep. All right.